Hello, everybody. John Wild here with another John Wild story time. How is everyone doing out there? It is, what is it anyway? I gotta cheat and look here. Lift up the glasses so I'm not so cool. Looks like the 11th. Oh my goodness gracious. So, April 11th, 2020. And we are still sheltering in place. We are still practicing the proper, what do they call it? Not isolation, but the social distancing. And we're all doing well, and everyone's getting better, and the curve is flattening, and I am continue to fattening. And, well, actually, I'm trying to lose some weight. Today, I did a lot of walking, and I said, you know what, I'm going to walk instead of riding, and I did pretty good. So, you know, I really got to get my legs better going, but other than that, I'm really starting to get better and better. And I hope everyone else out there is doing good. I'm enjoying a nice cigar, and I'm relaxing, and I'm getting ready to do some story time. I think probably starting sometime next week, I'm going to do a John Wild coffee talk or coffee time in the morning live. So if you've ever had any questions you want to ask me, if you want to join in, I appreciate it. I'm really trying to pump up my channel. I really want subscribers because I want this channel to be a channel where we all get together and just talk and communicate with each other and have some fun. And I tell some stories and get involved in different things. And I really want this channel to be something unique and different. I really do. Revenue for this channel, okay, how I do that is I try not, I don't want AdSense. I don't want commercials on my channel. The only commercials I'll ever have on my channel is if someone out there wants to sponsor one of my segments, I might put an advertisement up for something like that. I'm going to have a Patreon here real soon, and of course we have donations. But the money that I actually generate here, I am putting into my most precious charity that I work on, and that's rescuing domestic violence victims and helping people get out of bad situations that they're in. And it's usually young women with kids that are in domestic violence situations. We help them escape the situation, get help, get counseling, and put them on a new life to healing. It's something that I really, really believe in, and I'll tell the story of how I got into it that sometime down the road. But anything that you give to me, either through my Patreon or to Tip Jar or anything like that, and I have a link in this video to the information on the Advocate Group, which is my group. And what we do, if you ever want to donate, please, we need it. And everything, 110% of it. Well, you know, people say, if I give $5, how can 110% of $5 go for you? Actually, I spent a lot of my own money doing this. So I could probably say more than 100% of your donation goes to this. But it really helps out. And you know what? For every dollar that you give, you are actually really saving a life. And I have another YouTube called Stop Domestic Violence, and I'm going to try to get those links on as well so you can see the progress of what we're doing and some of the true stories of things that I work with almost on a daily basis lately. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there and tell you. But today's story is my whenever I had my radio show, the Eco Guys, and if you want to hear some old Eco Guys radio shows, just Google the Eco Guys podcast. I know I'm bouncing around, I'm sorry. The Eco Guys podcast. We're on every major broadcasting podcast out there. It's so easy to find us. Sit back and listen to some of our greatest shows that we've done. I got them all laid out there. But the number one question, ever since we did the show, wow, we did the show about 10 years ago now, is how did I get into recycling the way I am? Now, a lot of people out there are scrappers, which basically means they go out and they scrap, they pick up scrap, they take it to the yard, they recycle it, and la 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 la. I've always been this like huge Uber recycler. I mean, I recycle everything. I don't throw anything out. I don't believe in throwing out the world. I don't believe in trashing our world. I believe that every single thing can be reused for some reason or in some way. I'm the guy who recycles all the plastics. Even when you get that cheese that got the plastic wrapping on it, I will actually put that into a plastic bag and make sure it gets back to the store to be recycled. Because all plastic bag type material can be recycled. It doesn't have to be a plastic grocery bag. If it's any kind of plastic form, of any kind of plastic, anything like that, you could take that back to the store and get it recycled with it. So I even went as far as having a little jar, actually an old soup can on my desk, where I put staples and paper clips that break, things like even small little pieces of metal like that. Once that thing gets about 3/4 of the way full, I pinch it shut, and it gets recycled, and all the little pieces of metal in it gets recycled. I'm a recycled nut, and I've always had recycled tips to tell people that things are recyclable. I got to puff on my cigar right now and so it doesn't go out. So, how did I become such a recycling expert? And I am an expert because I have been working and studying about all types of recycling since I was 10 years old. And every single thing that has ever come out, I've read all the articles, I've done all the investigations, I learn it all because there's a lot of myths out there that even the recycling industry puts out. And we need to do more. And if you honestly think, and I got a couple of friends out there, a couple of my YouTube buddies, who actually tell me and actually truly believe this little phrase, nature will know what to do with everything. Well, maybe if we talk about nature material, natural material that we took and made into man-made products, like nature will know what to do with all the cement we made. Nature will know what to do with all the wooden paneling and the wood that we've made. Nature might know what to do with the glass that we've made. But nature does not know what to do with the things that we made that's not natural, like plastics. Nature's not going to know what to do with that. I got news for you. Plastic never biodegrades. I don't care what people say. Oh, yeah, it's 100,000 years it'll be gone. No, it doesn't. It does not degrade. It breaks down into littler pieces and littler pieces and littler pieces till it's down to about the size of a grain of sand, but it never goes away. And there's been some prediction that within the next 100 years, there'll be more grains of plastic on the beach than grains of sand with the way we're going. So it never goes away. So what do we do with plastic? Stop making it? Well, that'd be a nice thing, but that's unrealistic. But all plastics, every piece of plastic ever made can be recycled. It can be recycled. So we just need to find newer and better ways of recycling these plastics, manufacturing things differently, and stop buying crap from China. All right, Hank? Hold on. No, come on. I gotta take a puff. I think one of the biggest things that we're coming into summer here, I don't know what's going to be happening with all this coronavirus, but we're coming into summer here, and one of the biggest things that I tout is when you go into Walmart and all that, you see just walls and walls of plastic pails and bucket and beach toys and all this, and I cringe when I see this. Whatever happened to buying a metal pail? Okay, a metal pail is not going to rust. It's going to last 10 times longer if you take care of it. It's not going to rust. It's going to last 10 times longer than your plastic bucket. And when it does go bad, you can recycle it so much easier. And yeah, it's probably 75 cents more than your plastic, but you know what? I had a metal pail when I was a kid, and it lasted all the way through my childhood, the same damn metal pail. You know, by the time I got older, it was dented and been used and worn, and the paint was peeling and all that, but it was the same damn pail, did the same damn thing. Instead of buying brand new plastics every single year and then throwing the other plastics away, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, I'm getting off the subject, but I'm just saying that I've been an expert for a long time. You can't stump me. We used to have a thing called Stump the Recycler. Never did, ever. And this is a kind of a hard draw on this cigar today. One of the things that I've noticed more than ever is people believe in hype and bullcrap, and not the truth. So that's why I used to bust myths and all that all the time. But anyway, so we're getting off the subject. I'm here to tell you the story of how I got into recycling, and it's kind of a neat, funny story. Hold on. I tell you, this is a good cigar. What? What is it? This is actually called a Quorum, and it's let me get that up there. Yep, they're not paying me for this. They should be. Quorum. My favorite cigar, well, my absolute favorite cigar is a Arturo Fuente 858, but I like the Corona cigars. Now they're kind of expensive. This is the best. This is a Churchill. This is probably the best cigar next to. It's like the cheap knockoff of a Corona cigar. You can get these at ABC Fine Liquors if they got that where you're at, or the big box store, liquor store that's everywhere. I forget the name of it, but you can find these in most liquor stores and most cigar stores. And you're looking at like $2.20. So it's probably half price of a regular Corona Churchill. But this one's drawing. It's not drawing well. And my drink of choice usually when I smoke a cigar, 7 and 7, or a whiskey and Coke. But today I have a tea. So anyway, so we have to go back till about 1978, 1979, when I was about that time. I believe I was either 8, 9, or 10 at that time. Now, in 1979, I was 10 years old because that's when I met my first love in my life, and that's another story. But my older brother at the time, God rest his soul today, he was in the drama club and all these other clubs, the nerd clubs. He was a big nerd. And he was going to a junior high school here called Glenridge Junior High in Winter Park, Florida. And they were having one Saturday something called a paper drive. And, you know, being a little kid, I looked at my brother and I said, "What is a paper drive?" And he said, "Well, basically, we get this big truck and we set up in front of the school on a Saturday, and everyone brings us their newspapers and magazines, and we turn them in for money." I was like, "Bro, you mean to tell me that people bring you their garbage, essentially, and you get money for it?" Now, I would probably say this is more when I was 8 years old, probably when I was 8 rather than 10. So it'd be 1977, 78. Okay. So, because this is when my entrepreneurial blood started boiling. Is at 10 years old, I had my own landscaping company, and I was making more money than my mother was making in a week, practically. But that's another story. That's a time for another story. Yeah, truly, today I should be a multimillionaire. I don't know what happened, but those are other stories. So anyway, I thought I would help out the best I could. Glenridge was about a half-mile walk from our house. So I got my little wagon out, and I thought I would help out by walking to Glenridge, and on the way I would stop by houses and ask them if they had any newspaper that they would like to donate to the cause. So I got my little wagon out, and I'm going, and I'm just loading this thing up, and I get there, and I'm just overloaded with newspapers and magazines and all that. And I pull up, and there's this huge truck, and everyone's throwing all this newspaper in there, and I just couldn't believe it. I asked the person at that time how much money they were going to make, and it wasn't a large what was that in my throat? It wasn't a large amount of money, but back then it was. It was pretty good money at that time. I was kind of amazed at how much money they're going to make off a truck of this stuff. So that's when things started dinging in my head, and I started looking into the whole recycling thing and found out that, yeah, pop bottles back then, you can get like, I think 5 or 10 cents for those. Hold on. You can get aluminum cans, crush them down, turn them into a recycler for so much per pound, and metal. It was paper. It was interesting to me. So I started recycling, and that's when I got into this, thinking, wow, I can turn in garbage that I find on the street and get money for it. I thought this was the most amazing thing I've ever seen, ever heard of. So I started doing it just to make money at first. As a little kid, on my way to school, literally, I would collect cans on the way home. I'd collect cans and bottles, and I would turn this in for money at the end of the week, on the weekend. Either my uncle or my grandfather would drive me down, and I would turn in what I had found and got paid for it. And it was amazing to me that I could make money off of recycling. It was an amazing thing to me. Then I started learning what the whole process of recycling was all about. Not to mention cardboard too. Yeah, are you kidding me? I would collect cardboard, everything. And that's when I started learning the process of why recycling is so important to our environment. And I started at a young age realizing that we buy brand new product and we throw it away. We use it one time and throw it away. And I remember coming up with the idea. I think someone ended up running with this idea about maybe 15, 20 years ago. There was this advertising campaign. But I thought about this when I was a little kid back in the early 80s, to make a commercial where these people go out and they buy a brand new car. And they're driving in the car and they say, boy, you smell that brand new car smell. Yeah, it's wonderful. And then they drive home, they get in the driveway, and then they get out of the car and they say, okay, you grab one end, I'll grab the other. Ready? Heave ho! And you hear this crashing of a car into the trash. And, would say, this sounds ridiculous. Well, we do this every single day. I mean, you think about it. You go to the store. You buy something that comes in a cardboard box. Plastic wrap on the inside, I'm sure. Styrofoam, probably the styrofoam peanuts. I said peanuts. And all these things are brand new. They were just made. The cardboard was just made. The plastic wrap was just made. The peanuts were just made. Everything was just made. Brand new. Introduced to the world. So what do we do with the wrapping? We throw it away. Use it once, trash it. Made no sense to me. It does not make any sense when you could take that cardboard, you could take that plastic, you could take that styrofoam and recycle it back into something useful. You don't have to throw it away. You keep it out of the landfill. Redo it. Then, that is when I learned about paper and cardboard, where paper and cardboard comes from. You think it grows on trees? Well, actually, it does. That's the problem. Trees provide us with oxygen and cleans harmful chemicals out of the air. Beautiful. That's what trees do. There's a tree right in front of me here, and I'm looking at it as I'm saying that. I'm like, thank you, tree. If it wasn't for these trees, first, we couldn't live on this earth. Earth would be uninhabitable because forests and trees cool the earth, and we wouldn't be able to breathe. There'd be so many noxious chemicals in the air, we'd just all die off. So these trees are doing a great job. So to thank these trees, we're going to cut them down and make paper, make cardboard. And then to thank them even more for their sacrifice, we're going to use it one time and then throw it away to rot away and never bother anybody again and just be gone. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And in all actuality, I could get into the whole thing of hemp. And if hemp was more widely used to make paper products, it's so reusable, we wouldn't have to cut down another tree. And all these lumber people out there that freak out, take our money. Well, just start growing hemp, dude. You probably enjoy it more anyway. But the hemp that they make rope and paper and stuff out of, you can't smoke it. It's a different type of hemp, by the way. So why I don't understand why. But as a kid, I couldn't understand why we're cutting these things down that provide us with a way to live to make something and then throw it away. It just didn't compute to me. So that's when I started my lifelong love of recycling and trying to teach people to do it the right way. I've driven everybody crazy my entire life with recycling. I'm the one that walks through the parking lot going into the store and will pick up plastic bottles off the ground. I embarrass my kids by reaching into garbage cans sometimes and pulling plastic bottles out. Every time I go to a Wawa or something, most Wawas have a recycling receptacle outside of their building. And I'm going to make a video one day of this once this Corona thing's done and I can get back into this. I remember one morning I was sitting at a Wawa and I was watching people. I was sitting and drinking my coffee and eating my Danish. And all I can remember is my Danish saying, "Ooh, eat me, I'm a Danish." All right, you got to know 80s music to get that. But anyway, so I'm eating my Danish and I'm watching people coming in and out. And people get out of their car with plastic bottles in their hand, and there's the recycling receptacle, and right next to it the trash. And it's clearly marked, trash, landfill, recyclables, bottles, cans, plastics, metal, blah. How many people threw their bottles into the trash instead of right next to it, the recycle receptacle? I was amazed. And I'm going to make a video of this one time and show you. It's amazing how many people just don't give a flying... It really is amazing to me. So, basically, I'm the one that will walk up there and pull the plastic bottles out of the trash and put it in the recycling receptacle. And I'd be hanging with my kids, and they'd see me do that, roll their eyes, "Dad, you're embarrassing me," and rock away. And I'm like, you know what? I'm doing the right thing. So there you go. That's my story. It took a kid with the curiousness of the world, and sometimes kids don't think the way adults do. They actually think, I think, a lot more logical than adults do, because I could just remember my little 8-year-old self going, "Why are we throwing this in the garbage when we can reuse it? Why? It makes no sense." And I think if sometimes us adults start thinking like 8-year-olds again, maybe we can do something. Now, today the world's back ass where it comes to recycling. And we're in a recycling crisis now more than ever before, especially with this coronavirus. To the fact that a lot of times when you recycle, I'll be honest, I'm always honest with my people, a lot of it's going into the garbage now. They're taking it to the landfill, which makes no sense to me again. I'm thinking to myself, if you want to take all these plastic bottles and throw it in the landfill, I guess it's the way of getting rid of it or storing it. Instead of putting it in the landfill, why don't we just get this huge area and just stockpiling it in one area, and then when recycling takes back off again and we're back to a normal life and we need these items, then we got so much plastic we can rely on. We don't need to make more. It is a fact that less chemicals go in the air by recycling these plastics than making plastics from virgin material. So there's a no-brainer. And you have all the plastics in the world ready, stockpiled, ready to go when we're ready to start up again. If more building materials, if we completely stop using wood to build things with, we wouldn't miss a beat, because a lot of these 2x4s that are made from plastic bottles are better than wood. They last longer, they're stronger. And you're not chopping down trees to make these things. They cut like wood. They look like wood. You can paint them like wood, or you can make them into colors. And I remember one time I was looking at this fencing that was made by recycled plastics, and you couldn't tell it wasn't wood. You had to come up and touch it. And they said, nope, this is made from 100% soda bottles and detergent bottles and all those other strange bottles that are a little different than the rest. And I was amazed. I go, well, what's the downside to this? And they said, well, the warranty. And I'm like, okay. Well, the warranty isn't like a wood fence, is it? And they said, no. The warranty only covers the fence for 100 years. After that, you're on your own. You imagine putting a fence up or putting a siding on your house and all that and not having to ever worry about it rotting ever again? And it is, I think they said, I can't remember my stats, 50 to 65% more fire retardant than wood. And we could be making these, if more companies use this to build, the recycling industry would pop up, people would start making money. And if we did this the right way, with so much plastics on this earth, I have a feeling that one day we'll wake up. We're going to get some legislation one day to try to save our natural resources in the real way. And one day, street scrappers are going to be loading their trucks full of plastics to take down and pay out and get money on. It almost started happening. I get paid for some of my plastics, but we do it in an industrial way. Period. Why did I just text talk? Anyway, a little bit of history. I've owned 2 recycling businesses in my life, except for the Eco Guys, where people would actually bring me materials and I would accept them. We only paid for some type of materials. It was mainly a place for you to bring your junk and separated out all the junk and recycled it or gave it to Goodwill or we resold it if it's resellable. And I had 2 businesses like that in my life. One, we provided a service for trash. Basically, bus stops, gas stations, shopping centers. We went around and we picked up their trash receptacles, took it back to our facilities, and then the bags would go up on a big sorting table. They'd be broken open, and we would sort out the trash and recyclables. And then, of course, inevitably, there's going to be items that aren't recyclable at all. They have to go into the trash. But it was a recycling facility that we had, and we did that for a while. Now that's mainstream. There's a lot of companies that do that now, but when I was doing it, it was considered groundbreaking. So basically, that's the story of how I got into recycling as a young boy, and I really hope that we can turn this around. I think recycling can be an industry of epic proportions if we just start figuring out new ways of recycling the plastics we have instead of making new plastics. And that's what we need to start concentrating on. It sounds like I'm having trouble breathing. It's probably this. Well, I need to take a drink. I need to take a drink, but I can't put my mic down. I don't have a mic stand right now. And my earphones, the mic button, the mic thing on my earphones stopped working. So, oh my goodness. Corona. No, I don't know. Just an ambulance going down the road. Anyway, so, yeah. Oh, by the way, also, let me make a little side note here, and I'll be talking about this more later. Man, they're making a noise with that sirens. I truly believe that, well, I know for a fact that street scrappers and dumpster divers are looked down upon. There's a lot of times that I'll be sitting there and I see a scrapper going down the road. I hear somebody make a comment, hey, look at that junk man, that piece of garbage. And I look at them and I say, no, you mean look at that hero. And they look at me like, what do you mean that hero? I said, every year, dumpster divers and street scrappers, I want to say that 5 times fast, save hundreds of millions of tons of metal from going to the landfill every single year. They are heroes. And if it wasn't for them, we would have metal shortages. I'm telling you. They are heroes. And sometimes when I find law enforcement that comes down on them or hunts them down or harasses them for no reason, I tell the law enforcement, you know what? I respect that scrapper more than I respect you, sir. Leave them alone. They're heroes. You know, and if a dumpster diver or a street scrapper follows etiquette, there is a dumpster dive etiquette and there's a street scrapping etiquette where you don't bother the general public, you make it neat, you don't make a mess. If you make a mess, you clean it up. If you do this, people will respect dumpster divers and street scrappers more. So if you're a dumpster diver or a street scrapper out there and you see another one making a mess, say something. Say, look, you know what? That ain't working, man. You're going to give us a bad reputation. You need to stop your crap. That is the kind of thing you need to turn your camera on, record them, and turn that into local law enforcement. Let them shut them down and treat it. I educate law enforcement all the time, business owners all the time. Hey, you know, these people are heroes, and there's etiquette, and some of them are very respectful. So there you go. They're heroes to me. And the whole thing that a lot of businesses talk about, they find things in the dumpster and they come in and try to turn it back in and get money. That is such a poor excuse for BS I've ever heard in my life. Basically, stop being, these businesses fail in customer service in so many ways, and they think they're being great customer service by saying, well, you just bring it back in, receipt or not, we'll do something. No, if someone brings in a product and they don't have a receipt valid for the last 90 days and can have a driver's license and can prove that they purchased that, they're out of luck. That is the way to cure the dumpster divers from bringing the stuff back in. And then they also say, well, sometimes there are products that we throw in these dumpsters that are broken, and they turn around and they try to resell it and all this. That's a problem. So my suggested retailer is you find, and through the Eco Guys we can find one for you, a respectful recycler in your area, scrapper, who goes with the etiquette that you can actually call and say, I got product, can you come pick it up and recycle it for me? Because they want to keep their reputation shining. Well, that's my story for today, and thank you for joining. I don't know if I'm boring everyone with these stories. I would like more comments. I've been told to do this because the people that I tell my stories to, they always want to hear my stories, and they say, yeah, you ought to start putting that on your YouTube. That's not all my YouTube is going to be, but it's story time. Comment, tell me how you got into scrapping. What is your story? Of course, if you want to criticize me, go for it. I love criticism. But the one thing I'd really like for you to do is to smash that like button. Shows me you care. And share. And please, if you haven't, please subscribe. We have some incredible things coming up this summer, including contests. And one of my favorite things, how about 80s music trivia? We're going to have a lot of fun with that. We got a lot going on. So don't miss a beat. And when you subscribe and hit the all button, you will be notified when all this really cool stuff starts coming out. Oh, and for you guys out there, yes, a new Scrapper Girl is coming too. So get ready for that. And of course, she's going to debut right here on my channel. All right, everyone, take care. Stay green. I told you I wasn't going to walk away from the Eco Guys just because now I'm hanging with John Wild. And we're just going to expand the channel a little bit. That's all. Thank you for hanging out. Stay healthy. Have a wonderful day. And I look forward to reading y'all's comments. And help me get subs, man. I'll help you if you help me. One hand washes the other. And today, we should be washing our hands a lot. All right. Take care. Love you all. Stay healthy. Thank you for hanging out.